The fire door held at the handle, then it opened lower down. 19 minutes earlier, I had checked it the way we all checked it. Key side, handle, shoulder push, closed. No badge reader, no code, no key turned. But room 5 had 2 beds, 2 blankets, and no women. I stayed inside because the other 10 patients were still mine. And before I tell you what Ferruccio found in the frame, remember this. That door did not fail where we were looking. As a nurse, I still check the fire door low in our locked psychiatric ward. Because one night it held at the handle, every key assigned to the night shift stayed on its ring, and 2 women got out. No badge reader failed, no code was guessed, no key turned. That was what made the report look impossible for the first hour. The door had been checked at 2:12 in the morning. 19 minutes later, I heard it move. When I reached it, it was closed again. Room 5 was not. Ottavia and Neves were gone from a 3rd-floor locked ward through the key-operated staff fire door to the service stairwell, and I was still inside. The night started with Ferruccio leaving. That sounds like a joke now. It was not one then. He had worked the afternoon shift and gave handover at 8 in the evening with his reading glasses low on his nose and a pen that had teeth marks all along the cap. Ferruccio never chewed pens. He murdered them slowly. 12 patients, 3 recent admissions, 1 man refusing medication, 1 woman hearing her dead brother through the heating pipes, and 2 young women in room 5 who had become friends too fast. That was the exact phrase he used. Too fast. Irene was the other nurse on nights with me. Julia was with us as nursing assistant, tying a bag of clean linen closed with the concentration of a surgeon. She'd come from geriatrics before the ward, and she still folded towels as if someone might be cold later and she could prevent it. Ferruccio pointed his chewed pen toward room 5. "Ottavia answers for both now," he said. Irene looked up from the handover sheet. "Since when?" "Since dinner." Then he looked at me. "Watch the quiet one." The quiet one was Neves. She was 23 and small in a way that made every hospital garment look borrowed. Her sleeves covered half her hands. Her hair stopped below her chin, uneven at the ends, as if someone had tried to fix it and lost courage halfway. She was not safe alone with herself. That is the cleanest way I can say it. Stefano, the on-call psychiatrist, had not ordered one-to-one observation. He had ordered frequent visual checks, open doors, and no long gaps where anyone could mistake silence for safety. There is a difference. At 2 in the morning, that difference becomes thin enough to cut you. Ottavia was 26, sharp-faced and restless, always watching staff through reflections. The glass of the station, the metal tray, the black television screen in the dining room. She had learned that people are more honest when they think you are not looking. At 10:20 in the evening, I brought Neves a cup of chamomile tea she had not asked for. I put it beside her, not in front of her. In a ward, putting something directly in front of someone can feel like an order. Ottavia sat across from her, rolling a sugar packet between 2 fingers. Neves looked at the tea and whispered, "My mother makes it darker. I can burn it for you if you want." She looked up. For half a second, she tried not to smile because smiling would admit she had heard me. Ottavia smiled for her. "Careful," Ottavia said. "He thinks he's funny." "I don't think it," I said. "I document it." Neves touched the cup with both hands. She did not drink, but she touched it. At 11:05 in the evening, I called Stefano from the station phone while watching room 5 through the glass. I told him Neves was refusing sleep medication, but calm, and that Ottavia was staying too close. Too close how? Whispering, waiting until staff pass. They stop when we get near. Separate them if you need to. Room availability is bad. I know. Use the dining room if one agrees. No closed doors. Keep the checks tight. I repeated it back. Then I wrote the call in the electronic chart before the software could throw me out, because the software had the patience of a wasp. Julia came out of the linen room with towels against her chest. "They won't separate," she said. Irene asked, "Why?" Julia looked toward room 5. Atavia answers for both of them now. That was the first crack, not the fire door, not yet. At 12:18, I found Atavia sitting on the floor near the internal service branch, fixing the strap of her slipper. She was too close to the fire door, not the staff corridor outside the ward. This branch was inside the locked ward, just past the bend by the storage room where the station glass stopped helping. Room 5 was the last doorway before that bend. Atavia was not touching the door, just sitting there with one knee raised, pulling at the cheap plastic as if the slipper had betrayed her personally. "Not there," I said. "I'm fixing my shoe." "Fix it somewhere else. It broke here. Then it can continue breaking over there." She stared at me for 1 second too long. Then she stood and walked back toward room 5 with a slipper in her hand. At the time, I thought she was annoyed because I had moved her. Later, I understood I had interrupted her. By 1:55 in the morning, the ward had gone into that false, quiet night staff trust halfway. The corridor lights were dimmed. The dining room was black glass and chair legs. Near room 3, someone snored with the commitment of a small generator. I did the round with Julia. Room 1, asleep. Room 2, awake but settled. Room 3, snoring. Room 4, bathroom checked, bed occupied. Room 5, both beds occupied. Atavia was on her side, facing the wall. Neves was under the blanket with only her hair visible. I stayed. Julia noticed. "What?" "Nothing." She looked at the 2 beds, then at me. "That word gets people hurt." She was right. I stepped inside, keeping the door open behind me. "Neves?" No answer. "Neves, show me your face." The blanket shifted. Her face appeared, pale and irritated. "I'm sleeping." "Good. Do it with your face available." Atavia made a sound into her pillow, not quite a laugh. I documented the round and the visual check. Not because I was afraid of the chart, because charts are how night shifts leave fingerprints for the morning. At 2:12, I checked the fire door. It stood at the end of that internal branch beside the locked storage room, the door staff used for the stairwell during drills, maintenance, and escorted movement. It opened away from the ward into the stairwell. From our side, it opened only with the key. That was why we trusted it too much. I checked the lock. I tried the handle. No travel. I pushed once at shoulder height. Closed. Julia watched from the corridor with the linen bag against her hip. "Good?" she asked. "Good." Those were the last easy words of the night. At 2:21, Atavia asked Julia for sanitary pads. Julia brought them to the bathroom door and waited outside. The bathroom was checked before and after. Atavia came out alone, annoyed, with wet hands and no thanks. At 2:26, Neves came to the room 5 doorway and asked if she could call her mother. I said not at that hour unless Stefano authorized it, and we could talk about it in the morning. She nodded like she accepted that. I watched her step back into room 5. The door stayed open. Irene was at the far end with room 2. Julia was by the linen cart, half turned toward the bathroom. I was close enough to see the main corridor and not enough to see past the bend. 5 minutes. 2 steps past the edge of the glass. At 2:31, the fire door made a sound. Not an alarm, not a slam. A flat metal cough from the service branch. My hand went to my keys before my head counted the beds. Irene looked at me. 5, I said. She ran. Julia moved toward the bathroom. I went to the service branch. The fire door was closed. I tried the handle. No travel. I pushed high. It held. Then Irene called my name from room 5. Not loud, worse. Room 5 had 2 beds, 2 blankets, and no women. For 2 seconds, my brain tried to make bodies out of cloth. Then the cloth stayed cloth. I did not leave the ward. That is not a noble detail. That is the job. Irene checked the dining room and the quiet room. Julia checked the bathroom, laundry alcove, and storage door. I called Stefano from the station phone while watching the corridor through the glass. He answered on the second ring. What happened? 2 patients missing from the ward, Atavia and Neves. Last confirmed in room 5 at 1:55. Neves spoke to me at 2:26. Sound from the internal service branch at 2:31. Fire door checked, locked at 2:12. Door now closed and holding. A pause. Neves? Yes. Call security. Call 112. Do not leave the ward uncovered. I am coming up. I know. Matteo? Yes. After security is moving, call Ferruccio. He's off. I know. Call him anyway. Every official call went through that receiver. Security, the switchboard, then 112, the Italian emergency number. I gave times, clothing, direction of possible exit, risk level, and the fact that Neves could not be safely left alone with herself. My voice did its job. My mouth tasted like metal. I opened the incident entry after the first safety sweep was complete and kept adding to it as calls came in. Irene took the corridor. Julia began a full bed check, every patient, face visible. Everyone else was present. After that, I used the same phone to wake Ferruccio. He answered on the 5th ring with the voice of a man who had already decided to hate me. Someone better be dead, he said. No, I said. That's the problem. The line changed. Just awake. Who? Atavia and Knives, room 5, fire door. Stay inside. I know. No, you don't. Stay inside. Stefano arrived at 2:41, still buttoning his coat, awake enough to be angry and scared at the same time. He took the station with me and called the nursing coordinator. Mikhail from security posted at the ward entrance. A second guard went to the service stairwell. Nobody entered without Stefano. Nobody left without Stefano. The ward stayed covered. That is what people outside hospitals never understand about panic. The first thing you do is not run. You make the place you still have smaller and safer. Stefano used the second station phone to call Knives' parents before anyone could reach them with half the story. Her mother answered first. Is she sleeping? Stefano closed his eyes. Then he told her enough. Her father came on after her. How does this happen in a locked ward? Nobody answered immediately. Not because there was no answer, because every answer sounded like guilt. Stefano told them to stay by the phone, not to come shouting through the hospital, and to keep the line free. I heard the mother repeating no in the background, as if the word had become a machine. Ferruccio arrived at 2:57. I did not see him come in. I heard him. His shoes hit the corridor outside the ward entrance with that uneven rhythm he pretended was not a limp. Mikhail led him into the entrance vestibule only after Stefano authorized it, and Ferruccio stayed outside the ward line, beyond the glass. He looked ridiculous. I could have kissed the floor. He raised his phone to his ear. The station receiver was already in my hand. Door, he said. Closed. Keys? Mine here. Irene's here. Julia's here. Yours? On my kitchen table, because unlike you people, I was sleeping. Ferruccio. I know. He turned to the second guard. Stairwell. They went out of my sight. I stayed behind the glass. That was the worst part. Not the calls, not the chart, not even Knives' mother making that thin sound on the phone. The worst part was standing 12 steps from the door they had used and not following, because the other 10 patients were still mine. Ferruccio kept me on the line. I heard doors through his phone, metal, stairwell echo, his breathing, a security radio, rain somewhere outside. Landing, he said. What do you see? Fresh marks? Blood? No. Then, after a few seconds, slipper. Atavia's broken slipper had been found under the metal railing near the first outside landing. She didn't lose that running, I said. No. Police arrived without sirens at 3:04. 2 officers, Pietro and Rocco. Stefano met them outside the ward and gave the formal summary. Ferruccio gave the useful one. 2 adult women, 1 highly vulnerable, 1 controlling the pace, hospital clothing, likely on foot. Do not shout from behind. If Knives is found, one calm voice. If Atavia speaks over her, separate the conversation, not the bodies, unless there is immediate danger. Pietro asked him, "You know them?" "I know wards." That was all. They searched the service stairwell, the ambulance bay, the side path by the old outpatient entrance. I heard pieces through Ferruccio's phone, a vending machine hum, Rocco asking if they should split. Ferruccio said, "Not yet." "Why not?" Pietro asked. "If they wanted far, we'd hear traffic. If they wanted hiding, we'd find both shoes." "What does that mean?" "It means one of them changed her mind." At 3:17, Ferruccio stopped talking. I heard rain. Then his voice moved farther from the phone. "Bottom of the maintenance ramp," he said. "Locked gate." That was how I learned where they were. They had escaped a locked ward and ended up in front of another locked gate. Knives was sitting on the concrete in wet hospital socks. Atavia stood beside her with one slipper on and one bare foot, breathing hard through a nose. I know that from Ferruccio, from Stefano's assessment, and from the scrape on Atavia's foot. But on the phone, all I had was distance. Atavia said, "No." Ferruccio's voice dropped. "Knives?" Atavia snapped, "Don't talk to her." "Then I talk to you." "No." "Fine." A pause. "Your foot hurts." "You think I care about my foot?" "No," Ferruccio said. "That's why it will get infected." It was such a stupid line that Irene looked at me through the glass and whispered, "What?" I put one finger up. Knives said, "I was trying to get to a phone." Ferruccio did not ask where she thought she would find one in wet socks. "I know." Atavia said, "Because they took the phones." "We stored the phones," Ferruccio said. Different verb. Same cage. Sometimes. No one spoke for a breath. Then Knives said, "The door was open." The station went still around me. Ferruccio did not answer too fast. "Which door?" "The fire door." "It was closed." "No," Knives said. "Not for us." Atavia's voice cut sharp. "Shut up." Pietro said something I could not catch. Ferruccio said, "Nobody grabs anybody." Knives's voice came through again, smaller now. She said outside is quieter. Atavia said, "I said that." Knives said, "Not you." Ferruccio took his coat off. I heard the fabric move. "Your mother is by the phone," he told Knives. "She is not coming down here." Knives made a small sound. "Why?" "Because if she comes down here crying, you will have to take care of her too." That landed. I heard it land in the quiet that followed. Then Ferruccio said, "You do not have to come back with them. You come back with me." Atavia whispered, "Don't." "You too," he said. "I don't need you." "No, you need a shoe." The second stupid line worked. Atavia started crying like she hated the tears personally. At 3:26, Ferruccio said, "We're walking." I did not breathe properly until I heard the elevator bell outside the ward at 3:34. Stefano opened the entrance himself. Knives came in wearing Ferruccio's coat. Her socks were dark with rainwater. Atavia limped beside her, one slipper bent under the toe. Nobody touched them unless they agreed. Nobody crowded them. Stefano called Knives' mother again before I finished crossing the station. He told her Knives was back before anything else. I heard the woman make a sound that had no language in it. Knives looked at the receiver in Stefano's hand. "Tell her good morning," Ferruccio said. Stefano covered the mouthpiece and looked at him. Ferruccio did not blink. Stefano uncovered it. "She can hear you." Knives swallowed. "Good morning, Mom." Then her knees softened. Irene was already there. We assessed them with the door open, staff present, no theater. Stefano changed the observation plan. I wrote the incident entry with the times, calls, emergency activation, patient statements, injuries, assessment, and new instructions. I wrote Knives' words exactly. The door was open, not for us. At 5:10 in the morning, maintenance came with Michele and Stefano watching. The technician tested the fire door. Handle, no travel. Push high. It held. Again. It held. Ferruccio stood with his arms folded, still in wet slippers because he had left his house too fast to find shoes properly. "Push low," he said. The technician looked at him. "Under the handle." The man bent and pressed his shoulder into the lower half of the door. Something clicked inside the frame. The door opened into the stairwell. Nobody spoke. Assunta passed with her cleaning cart, saw the red tape across the frame, crossed herself at the same spot, and kept walking. The technician removed the cover from the frame. A curl of old gray paint fell onto the floor. Around the lower screw, the scratches were not fresh. Ferruccio looked at them. Then he looked at me through the glass. By 7 in the morning, the morning shift had the facts, the temporary closure, and the security post. They also had breakfast trays to count. Hospitals are good at that. They can hold a disaster in one hand and a plastic spoon in the other. After handover, I pushed low. After handover, I pushed low. Not high, not at the handle. Low. If there is something in your life you only check in the wrong place because everyone taught you to check it there, write what it is. A door, a lock, a face, a silence. And if you heard that click in the frame too, do not stop at the handle. Subscribe. There are lower places behind the fire door. The part that opens is not always where the hand goes.